And now we move to another speaker. We have Ilkka Koisti here from Virta, a Finnish company. And we're going to talk again about charging, but now more from a business point of view. Like, is it profitable? That's the question Ilkka Koisti will answer. So, Ilkka, if you're ready, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Koval. Yes, very nice to be in this webinar. And I will start sharing my screen and let's go. Virta is a Finnish company, a software house, a little bit like a Messcraft, but maybe a little bit now further ahead in the road. But yes, I will tell you what is our mission. Actually, our mission is sustainability, definitely, and to solve the climate change by bringing electric mobility, the businesses, people's everyday life, and to the energy systems. We believe that by doing this, we can change the world a little bit cleaner. We will not take care of all the emissions, but we will take a big part of that, and that's our mission. And we have been doing that right now about 7 years, almost 8 years, and doing that globally, focusing on the European market right now, but now getting more and more towards an Asian market as well. And some numbers behind the company. At the moment, we are controlling more than 34,000 sockets in charging environment. And we have approximately 270,000 registered active EV drivers all over Europe. Most of them are in Europe. We are also, if you look about 12 months back from this last April, we have been having about 4 million plus charging station, let's say charging activities on our chargers. And there's one big fundamental thing. We don't own the chargers. The customers of ours are owning the chargers. We are giving them tools to control them. And these chargers, which we are connected to our back office, is basically a public chargers, but also home and office and hotel locations. So we have a whole different type of variety of the chargers connected. And what is very important as well, 12 months back, about 51 gigawatt hours of energy has been going through from our system towards the electric vehicles. And that is a lot of energy, I can tell that. And basically every day, easy number, about 70,000 liters of fossil fuel is saved every day because of the charging events what we are controlling. It's a lot of barrels of oil as well. And that is the thing what makes our work worth of while, of course. But then we come actually very important topic, how this sustainability activity can also be business. Because if it's not a business, it will not spread like we want that to be spread. So we want to accelerate that more and more charging stations, more and more fossil-related vehicles are available for the consumers and fleets and business-to-business customers. And if we can show numbers that this is actually a business as well, it will accelerate faster and faster and faster. And we, of course, now there's a lot of subsidizing all over the Europe, for example, ongoing, but at the end, it will not last forever. We need to make this as business as well for everyone. We can't just put tax money and support all the activities as we are doing right now for long. So that's why it's important that we find the business models that charge point owner, service provider, electric vehicle owner, electricity producer, everyone is taking care and taking business as well. Otherwise, without that, it's not going to be a business. Here's some countries where we are active, the yellow ones. And yeah, expanding the countries, as I mentioned, we look for the Asia right now. And how could we change also the sustainability activities there towards more business as well. And the thing what we actually do a little bit different is that we are providing this service as a service. What it means in practice, that we are not only selling a software back office to control the charging stations. We are selling also the service to also control, take the billing and invoicing activities so that the charge point owner don't need to hire their own people to do the work. they can get it as a service from us. And this is actually accelerating most of our customers' time to market a lot. So they want to get the business up and running as soon as possible without the necessity of recruit their own people to take care of the customer center activities, installation activities, operational activities on those chargers. So we would give them a service that with Virta platform and the services on top of that, they will avoid time-consuming organizational changes. They will actually also get a lot of knowledge, because we have been doing this now 7-8 years, how to control, how to pick up the quality chargers, how to pick up the ones, the communication between the back office and the chargers, how to make them more reliable. And I will reason that for you soon, why it should be very reliable as well. So we do it as a service and not only as a software, but it's also including a lot of labor from our side to control those chargers on the network and the customer centers. Now, is it a business or not? If you look about, there's 3 different countries, and in here, in the upper part, it's EV market share. So what is the market share of electric vehicles which can be charged on that country? That tells you right away that now we talk about DC, so fast charging. How many DC charging average events per month, per 1 month? And this is collected from last quarter 2020 and 3 months, and then how much it would be an average per month. How many transactions, how many charging events per charging station per socket has been there in 1 month. And of course, it's natural when the amount of electric vehicles is growing, the number of events is also getting higher per month. But what is very interesting here, if you look about the DC average kilowatt hours, so how much energy customers has been charging per month, is actually staying quite stable. So they are not filling their batteries on those vehicles like from 0 to 100. They are filling about approximately 20-30% of the battery on average. So it's not like that they are coming there with a 0 or 1 or 2% left on the electric vehicle battery. They are coming there when they have more, and they're leaving before the battery is full. So they are quite quick stops. It's basically on less than 30 minutes. And more you get electric vehicles, so more the people are used to drive electric vehicles, the time is actually getting shorter. And then, is it a business? An average revenue per charging event, we talk about 4 to 6 euros. And how much the one charging socket basically is turning in the revenue during 1 month. It's of course depending on how much events you have in the charger. But this shows you that when you have very low penetration of electric vehicles, of course, the socket earnings per month, it's not drastically big. But when the number of, let's say, EVs is reaching, let's say, 15% in the market, it starts to be quite interesting business as well. If you think about the investment for, let's say, 50 kilowatt DC charger, approximately 20-25,000 euros each, and then some installation work on top of that, the return of investment can be quite short if you have a good location. And on the coming slide, I will actually prove you as well that what is the most critical thing when you are thinking where to install those chargers and what kind of quality you should have on those chargers as well. And there's also different business, let's say, pricing models, not the business model. So the customers are in the public chargers, they can charge per kilowatt hour charge, they can charge how long the duration of the charging event has been, or the combination. And we are seeing more and more this number 3, so combination of these charging events. So you are basically charging for the kilowatt hours, but you also have a time component. Because our customers, they have realized that if the cars are staying there, let's say long, their cars are not charging that efficiently anymore. So it's basically waste of time a little bit that they are occupying the charger. So that's why they put a time component. Example, after half an hour, you will start paying also on top of the kilowatt hour charge, the time component, because then you would like to get a new, fresh, let's say, EV there to start charging in the vehicle. So there are ways to accelerate the business. And of course, the main driver is still that you have enough electric vehicles in the market, in the country. Now, in this slide, you will actually, I would compare in country C, which looks already quite good, but I would show one of the chargers in another country, which is making a big difference on this, let's say, revenue stream perspective. The country is okay, there's a pretty high electric vehicle penetration. There's a lot of events in the one charger, 444 during the month. But what is substantial is also that the average revenue per event is much higher if you compare this one. It's doubled. And of course, it means in practice that your annual revenue and monthly revenue will also be doubled. The only reason when you look about why the average DC revenue is getting higher is actually the customers are staying a little bit longer on this charger. But it's also very high power charger, so the revenue per kilowatt hour is fairly good, but the customers are actually staying there a little bit longer. And the reason why the customers are there for a longer time is that they have some extra services on that spot. And that is making the customers stay a little bit longer in the charging station and paying for that time as well. And then the revenue per DC charging socket is getting quite high per event. And that's why whenever customers are thinking that, okay, where should I put these chargers? You should always think that it's not only a charger that people are coming there or EV drivers are coming there. If you have an extra services next to it, it will actually boost your earnings from socket. And of course, you will also get extra earnings from those extra services, what you are offering for the EV drivers. So it's a combination of the business model that is making the revenues. In this specific charger, when the revenues are already 66,000 a year, actually they are getting approximately 35,000 euros add-on services per socket as well. So it's beyond 100,000 euros what that one charger is generating revenues when you calculate the extra services, food and beverages and shopping, plus the actual DC charging event. So if you would not have that DC charger over there, you would not also get the 35,000 euros service fees. So it's very critical you think about a little bit beyond. It's not only charging, but it's also the extra services which are making the profit.
Okay, Ilkka, we have like last 2 minutes if I can ask you to.
And very briefly, and these charges utilization is 21%. And if you raise that to the 40%, you will get even higher revenues plus the extra services. So the summary, location, location, location. Think about where you put your chargers and try to think that it's not only charging service what is attracting the customers. There must be something else and it will make much, much better business case. Don't choose the bad quality hardware because when the system is down, you lose revenues and you risk your brand. And of course, high power chargers are now very, very attractive. And as I mentioned, add-on sales, it's making substantial additional revenue on those locations. So it can be, and it will be, and it is already business in certain countries where you have enough electric vehicles. And if you're starting from very low number, think about the additional services, what you can sell on those locations. That is, I think, the best what I can help in these times when you are starting to make the business with electric vehicle charging. Sorry, that was the Kovaldi fast strap.
That was perfect. Thank you very much for that. I have a quick question here from the audience. Like when somebody is thinking about getting a charger to their business, you've mentioned like where to place it, but you've talked about like which charger should you choose, which business model, what is basically the customers are paying for, either the kilowatts or minutes. Here in Czech Republic, the charging business is still in the very beginning. So maybe could you give a quick advice, like when somebody has any experiences with EVs, like what should they do? Who should they ask maybe?
Well, of course, we can help in Czech. We are there already in your beautiful country. But basically, I think it's a question that if you have afford to invest for the DC charger, it would probably be good if you have a good location. That would be a perfect match. But if you have a, let's say, hotel or where the customer is staying over the night, basically, or hours what they would stay, then the AC slow charging would also be probably good enough. Like 11 kilowatt or 22 kilowatt AC charging will give you customers that will stay a little bit longer. But if we have a like stop and go type of customers, like petrol stations or charging hubs, then the DC 50 kilowatt minimum, preferably, or more than 100 kilowatt charger would be perfect. And as Osmund mentioned, the energy management is very critical in these locations. When you're getting higher number of chargers, you can't play with those high performance chargers without a smart energy management, what we are also doing. And we're actually adding there now stationary energy storages as well to those locations to avoid those high peaks, because the peaks are killing the business case as well.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We have another question from the audience, like basically what permits do you need to get or start a charger, public charger in my company, and how long does it take? I guess that changes like within the countries, like in Norway it's going to be different, but maybe could you maybe generally talk about what do you need to cover before you start your own public charging station?
Yeah, okay. Basically, you need to know how much energy you have available in that location. That's a first thing to ask, how much power I can have in my location. So that how much energy is available from the energy company on your location. And then, of course, are you trying to attract the customers to stay there longer or just stop and charge and go? So quick charging. So those are the things what you need to think about. And as well, normally, the delivery time of these chargers are, let's say, month to 2 months, depending on the type of charger. But in the 2 months, you can actually get systems up and running. If you have a charger already, to connect that to the back office like Virta, it takes half an hour. So that's very quick to do. But of course, if you have an empty location, you need to build everything from scratch. It normally takes 1 to 2 months to get also the permissions from the municipality, for example, that you can install a charger there.
Okay, thank you very much, Ilkka. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your answers and time, and good luck with the charging business.
Thank you very much.